Voyager. Do you know the time is here? The Star Trek Voyager documentary, To the Journey by 455 Films, has been released. It has been completed and sent out to backers. Super exciting. We have Lolita Faggio to talk about that, of course, producer on the film as well as script coordinator for Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Next Generation. Did you work on Enterprise too?
No, no,
Ooh.
no, I didn't mean it that way.
So
No,
we
I
have that in common. We have
love
the same
that.
Enterprise resume,
Mm.
kind of. Also, huge news, you guys. Today is a special anniversary for a major moment in Star Trek history and fandom. Today is Matt Boardman's birthday. Happy birthday,
That's
the
not where
Matt
I thought you were
Boardman.
going with that.
I know. Happy birthday to the Matt Boardman. Everybody in the live chat, sing him happy birthday, please. Loud enough for him to hear.
Yeah.
But also, it's a special anniversary. It's the 20-year anniversary of the final episode of Enterprise. Right now, the live chat's going, oh, the one with the Riker and yeah. Yes, but that's not the point. The point is we celebrate Enterprise, and that's going to be amazing. Can you believe it's been 20 years since the show ended already? Also, maybe some bad news for Star Trek Prodigy. Maybe some double bad news for Star Trek Prodigy. Maybe not. Maybe there's a silver lining. Here's the secret. We happen to know there's a gigantic silver lining that is not yet announced, but it will be in a little bit. Maybe. Okay, with Melissa
tease.
Long.
I know.
With Melissa Longo, though.
Hello,
And of course, the birthday boy, the Matt Boardman, is here.
Hello. Man,
Jenny,
I can't believe it's been a year since my
your last birthday?
I know. I can't. No, I can't believe it because seriously, since the beginning of this year, it feels like it's been 20 years.
This is the 1-year anniversary of your last birthday.
Seriously.
And Jenny R. Johnson's here. When's your birthday?
August.
August.
August
Oh,
4th.
Right. We go over this every year, don't we?
Yeah.
Right before
Vegas.
STLV.
Whenever there's a
celebrates in Vegas.
birthday.
And my name's Ryan T. Husk, everybody. I have 2 birthdays on social media, which is pretty cool.
Why is that?
You'll see. People will say happy birthday, and a couple months later, people will post happy birthday, happy birthday. You watch, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You keep an eye on that. Anyway, Lolita, it's so good to have you. We want to talk all about the Voyager documentary. Let's say hello on our way in to Walter Ian K, Joshua Reeve, Chuck A, Bob D. Robert Kaiser is out in Austria. I bet he donated. Foz Rotten is also here. Bob D, Dave Gregory, big time supporter. Of course, Larry Smith, May Barella, who, like you, Lolita, lives in the May area.
I love me.
Yeah, me too. It's the best month that we're enjoying right now, actually, too. Cerulean Blue, Draco Rex, that's Marina Kravchuk. Everybody knows and loves her, except for Matt. Trek Culture is here. What's up, Trek Culture? Who says happy birthday to Matt? Notice Jenny only applauded for them and nobody else. All right. Anyway, I just noticed it. That's all I'm not
applaud
saying.
with my heart.
Why do you hate everyone, Jenny?
Shut
Oh, yeah,
up!
she
I
hates-
don't.
She hates Deep Space Nine too, Lolita.
Oh
Did
my
you know that?
God!
Oh no,
I do
I know.
not. I don't. It's a lie.
that's
It's
terrible.
slander.
She said she likes Discovery, 12 Monkeys, and that's it. But she especially hates Deep Space Nine.
I do love 12 Monkeys, to be clear, but
Yeah.
good Lord.
And maybe a little bit Picard because of Todd Stashwick.
Yeah.
Well, I love it for a lot of reasons. Yeah.
I
Anyways,
just have to ask something because I'm the old person here, obviously. Why
barely.
you all of you have that beautiful To the Journey sign behind you. And I have my Star Trek office, but
Oh, I
how would
see your box back there, though.
yes, you can see it.
And your
Yeah.
Porthos.
Yeah.
Yes. But how do you all have that back there? I don't understand. Is that how would I ever do that?
Well,
Well,
what
here,
we
I can
did
send it to
was,
you.
yeah, we just get the image that
Okay.
we get the image. The Matt Boardman adds the view screen around it,
Okay.
and then we get that image and we add it to our background.
Okay. So next time I join you, I could have your
You
image.
could, yeah,
You can have it now.
You can have it
absolutely.
now.
Oh,
I
okay.
just sent
That's
it
That
the-
would
to
be
the
so cool.
chat.
Because I
This
can't
is
see my t-shirt. I mean, nobody can see my To the Journey t-shirt, so we should at least
Right.
put the
I
background.
wonder if I could
Yeah.
change your background for you. That would be probably
It's so
easier, but
exciting.
I don't think
That
so.
would be
My old age.
dangerous
I know.
for
No, I
future.
can't.
I know.
So I just sent the image
right?
to the chat here.
Mhm.
You guys, I have some bad news. We have people watching right now.
Oh,
So
That's
so
okay.
we have to
This
we
is
have to get into
entertaining.
this
we
is
have
to
to
the
get
Journey
into
tech support.
We can do this
information.
next time, but I just
Yeah.
was curious. Okay. So
Well,
anyway,
you've got the shirt, you've got the box, and you've got the information we
yeah.
want to know.
I've got my Star Trek room.
Ooh, you've got the What We Left Behind poster behind you
Of
too.
course.
I'll cover
Absolutely.
that up.
Yeah. Is
Anyway.
that Porthos?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, don't give him any cheese.
Even though I didn't work on that show, I still have Porthos.
Yay.
Okay, so let's talk about To the Journey. Lolita, can you tell everybody what you did on the film, how you participated?
I interviewed over 80 people for this documentary. So
Wow, who interviewed the younger people? Okay, no, please continue.
so it was really a big honor. Of course, I worked on that show for the whole well, actually clarify. I worked 6 out of 7 seasons on Voyager. I left at the end of the 6th season of Voyager, but it was still family. I'd been there through all of TNG and all of DS9 and then Voyager. So when Dave brought me on for the Deep Space Nine documentary, it was in a limited capacity as far as, getting talent and this and that, but full on for Voyager. So I was also the talent coordinator for this documentary. And then I interviewed almost everyone. I would say probably 85% of the people that we interviewed for this documentary was me, which was such a great honor and so much fun. And it was every time everybody was just so happy to be together. And the biggest question I would have from every person that came to be interviewed, I don't know, I don't remember, it was so long ago, what am I going to talk about? And I would say, don't worry, we're just going to talk. And it all worked out beautifully.
It all comes back to them. They end up remembering a lot more than they thought, right?
Oh yeah, because I thought the same thing. I mean, life, that's a long time ago. But I was afraid I wouldn't remember either, but it does all come back. So it was really an honor and so much fun to be able to do that. Yeah.
Lolita, when you said that you weren't there for the 7th season of Voyager, I was like, the Jadzia Dax of Voyager, everybody.
There you go.
Thinking the same
I know.
thing.
I know.
That because Terry is my BFF, so I think
know.
there's something there.
I
It
think
wasn't
more than
Ducat that sent her
BFF.
off. It was Hirogen.
I think more than BFF, you guys are partners in crime, more like.
Oh, there is that. Yes. So
yes, that was a lot of fun. The countless production days and countless editing days, because there's over 100 hours of footage to go through, and shoots and reshoots and re-edits. And as everybody's heard a million times, there are also some strikes that happened, and there was a pandemic that happened, and there was also, I'm sure, allergies, or whatever. But like there were so many things, but it's done.
yes, it's done. And to not to interrupt you on that note, but there was then the wonderful Kate Mulgrew who came to
Yes.
the New York screening and said, Lolita, there's not enough of me. I didn't give you enough time. It wasn't that she wanted to have more of herself. She felt like she hadn't given us enough time, which I appreciated. And she hadn't. We had her for 28 minutes. She was in the seat when I
Oh,
interviewed her.
wow.
Oh,
And
wow.
everybody else was at least an hour or more. So
Mhm.
she graciously invited us to New York into her home. And I interviewed her for another 2.5 hours. And that's
Wow.
Wow, that long.
after those screenings. So
Mhm.
wow.
anybody that saw those screenings in LA, New York, or London will see a lot more footage of Kate.
Well, I'm
With
sure they don't mind
other
that.
things as well. But
Right.
so anyway,
That's really cool. And that's
yeah.
because she saw the screening and she
Mhm.
was like, wow, this is really good. I love this. I need to give more, which was
Yes.
just amazing of her to do that.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Well, you were there, Ryan. You saw her enthusiasm, and she was, again, so gracious for offering that. And we took it full advantage of it. For sure.
Actually,
Nice.
speaking
Oh,
of
sure.
that, just real quick, when we went to the New York premiere and Kate was up there to introduce the film, and she said, "I'd like to introduce, Lolita Faggio and Dave Zappone and Ryan Husk." And I was like, "That's awesome! First the emissary, now coffee
Mhm.
captain. Oh man, life is good." So that was a lot of fun going up there with you guys. That was a good premiere. So moving forward, the backers are receiving
Yeah.
this digital download now. I mean, this is
Yes.
for them to actually download and own and show their friends and pet their kitty while they watch it.
Exactly. Yes. And I've been, keeping an eye on Facebook, and people seem to be really, really happy with it. And I'm so glad. And I know there are people that their email has changed and things have happened and they're not getting it yet, but we will find you as long as you communicate with us. It will get to you for
Mhm.
sure.
I
Most
have a
people have been
particular
really
set of
good.
skills.
Sorry, most people have been really good about updating their email addresses though and their regular
Mhm.
addresses over time. So that's really cool, but some have not. So everybody please make sure you are. And what
Yeah.
were you saying, Matt?
Oh, I was just trying to be funny and failing.
Mm.
I just
Oh, do
said,
it.
I said I have a particular set of skills. I will find you and I will email you.
Exactly.
Email it.
And I saw someone like singing the praises of the team for being super fast with the email responses.
Yes.
Actually, like I saw
Mhm.
people commenting about that.
Yeah, well,
Awesome.
again, we've all of us as a team felt so badly with all these delays that we really
Mhm.
had no control over. But once we got to this point where we could release this digital download, it was so important to get it done and out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yes, the
Yeah.
people that are in charge of that, which is not me, I wouldn't even know how to download anything. They are really on top of getting back to everybody if they haven't received it,
Mhm.
whatever complaints there are. So
Mhm.
yeah,
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm watching that happen.
Tracorex. Yeah, no, Tracorex in the live chat says it's been fascinating to see the changes. She's been lucky enough to see the LA, New York premieres and the premiere on the cruise. So
Oh,
that's pretty
right.
cool.
Right.
She's
Wow.
seen various iterations of the documentaries. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
That's so
that's great.
fun.
Because that's true. The cruise, we had added a few different things too. So yeah, there's been different. Sorry, hold on.
Jenny, Canadian phone for you. You know,
Shoot,
that's
you
a
guys,
weird
this
that
is so embarrassing. I still have an old landline and I
I know
don't
it
know
sounds like the
how to stop it.
80s.
It's so cool.
Fantastic.
Again, remember my age. Hold
Say
on.
Paramount Pictures, Star
Oh
Trek.
my gosh, that'd be amazing.
Star Trek, this is Lolita. Oh man.
Are you calling about Deep Space Nine or Next Generation? You
Yeah.
got to be more specific.
That's
Okay,
funny. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, here's a fun one. For Draco Rex. I've not seen it in as many places as you have, but my favorite place to watch it was at Paramount with Joe, our editor, and Robert Beltran. That was just kind of a
Awesome.
fun, just the three of us hanging out, sipping Gatorade, I think it was, and
Oh,
watching
that's fun.
and watching the documentary with those two rascals. Um, well, here's the thing, live chat, if you guys have any questions for Lolita, no promises that you can answer them all, but she'll definitely try, and we'll probably have some more laughs and giggles along the way. So if you have any questions, let us know. Um,
Mhm.
Lolita,
Actually,
Yeah,
Dracarex did have a question.
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, she was asking, does Lolita know how close to the final version is the digital version that's
Ooh.
just come out? Like is there going to be a difference between the digital version and the DVD?
No, no, the digital version is the final version.
Okay.
The only thing that will be different eventually is the special features.
Right, gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
We have
Ooh.
so many hours of special
I can't
features.
even imagine. I mean,
I
our
know.
poor
great.
editors, they finally start that. Oh,
Yeah.
it'll be a lot
Wow.
of fun though.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Joe is so good. He's
And
Yeah.
so
speaking of
good.
Joe, I want to give Joe a shout out. He moved today.
Yeah, you're gonna have to yell really loud now.
I know. Right now to Glasgow, and I'm going to miss him so much.
What?
Yeah, he and Allie, they've moved.
Mr. LA.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Dang.
they took off yesterday and they had to stay overnight in New York because of their animals had to go on a separate plane today. But
Oh gosh.
yeah, they're on their way.
Wow.
So, but he's still going to be editing for 455.
Love
Awesome.
that, dude. It'll just be a
Nice.
weird hours to us. And by the
Exactly.
way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
fun fact about Joe, I heard that for the first time in his life, he bought a jacket. So
He's never lived out of LA.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Wow.
that should be fun.
Oh gosh.
What a fun adventure.
He asked Allie, he's like, Windbreaker should do it, right? Windbreaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that. Glasgow doesn't get cold at all.
Okay, so DM Viewing says, did you get access to the Voyager footage in order to remaster to HD?
That's to me. So that's another question that's out of my realm
Yeah,
of
that's
knowledge. Sorry,
that's
guys.
Dave or Joe.
That is a Dave or Joe question. Sorry. That is
Okay. Joshua Reeves says, do you like scary movies?
that for all of us?
No, for
What's
you.
your favorite scary
Oh.
movie?
I no. I mean, I don't have anything against scary movies, but it's not my thing at all. I'm a Law and Order girl.
Nice.
Yeah, I like
Nice.
that kind of TV. So
I married into a
That's
family of horror film watchers.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes. It was. I mean, it's one of those things that I don't have anything against them, but it's just
Mhm.
not one of the, I haven't sought them out, and then
Yeah.
and then my wife and her daughters are all just. So now every year it's like the Conjuring movies.
Oh,
and-
jeepers.
Ooh, it's a
yeah.
good Megadeth
Yeah.
song too.
Yeah.
Well,
so-
one of my dear friends and clients, Jeff Combs, I mean, he's famous for his horror films,
Yeah.
Yeah, the Reanimator.
but the Reanimator, but no, I haven't watched those. So
Yeah.
no.
I can handle like a good 90s thriller,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, like Sleeping with the Enemy or something. That's
Right.
that's
That's
about as scary as I like. Yeah. Love Sleeping
Okay.
with the Enemy.
Hang on, who was it that had just asked? KL Bliss Dish. Oh, we love her. Says,
Yeah.
what email if we don't get a link? Email voyagerdocumentary@gmail.com. Once again, that's voyagerdocumentary@gmail.com.
I'll put that in I'll
That
put
should
that in the chat
definitely
here.
get through. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
You'll just, and then it's just a simple situation in which we have to, or they have to verify your level, and then they'll send it to you really quickly. Foz Rotten says, is there talk of a 4K physical release or just Blu-ray?
I don't know. Listen, let me just say what we
They're
would
gonna ask you all
love-
the tech questions.
I know, all the tech questions where I can't answer.
Time to
And
play
this is
chicken.
really interesting.
What's the aspect ratio?
I know. But these
What is the
technical-
airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Let me just say that we would love to do what DS9 did and get into a theater one night across the world. It would be awesome.
Yeah.
And I
That would
know
be
that's something
great.
that Dave Sapone is working on. So I know
Oh.
that he is really trying to get that done.
Mhm.
And then eventually there'll be the Blu-ray, of course, with the special features. But all
Yeah.
that techie babble in there, I couldn't answer you.
Here's a great question for you, though. Joshua Reeves says, of the 80 people, who was your favorite interview?
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's a great question. And I want to say everyone, but I will, I can tell you who surprised me the most because honestly,
Ooh.
every interview was wonderful
Yeah.
Mhm.
because everybody was so natural and so real. And we we had a week in Burbank in LA where we had a studio and Ryan was there every day. And that's where we did a big bulk of this.
Yeah.
But you have to remember this also, I interviewed people for another 3 years after that
Right.
various
Wow.
locations, which you'll see in the film that the backgrounds are all different. Some of them were on a ship, some of them were in a studio, some of them were in a somebody's kitchen.
That's awesome.
Robert Beltran was probably one of the top five that I didn't expect to be so so it was just a great interview. I don't know
Mhm.
Robert well. I mean, we've
Mhm.
talked, but we're not close friends. He opened up and was so great. And we talked more about non-Star Trek things and
Mhm.
his early life. And a lot of that, of course, you're not going to see in this film, but you
Sure.
will see in the special features.
Nice.
Oh, lovely.
It's great. And there's also people that I interviewed that aren't in the film because you can't
Mhm.
put everybody in. I mean, my conversation with Sandra Pillar and her son Sean Pillar, the widow of Michael Pillar,
Right.
we had just an emotional hour of tears and laughs about Michael.
Mhm.
That's not in there. But probably my very, very top, without saying, was my dear friend and mentor, Jerry Taylor.
Oh,
Mm.
What can I say? She's
Yeah.
gone now, and I'm so sad that she didn't get to see this film.
Mhm.
She's such a part of Voyager. But I think we
Mhm.
did really gave her good justice in this film.
Good.
It was
I would
And
great
agree.
seeing her.
we got to dedicate it to her.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I will say
Yeah.
as I watched it, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, it's taken a while for this, but I'm so glad that you
Mhm.
started when you did and
Mhm.
that you had all of that stuff of Jerry.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because she was as soon as she was very cool about, she wasn't too concerned about the whole COVID thing. So as soon
Mhm.
as we got off the ship in 2020 and then started to kind of get back into this, she lives up here near me and on the coast. And she said, please just come to my house. I'm happy to have you. So we
Nice.
spent 2 days there with her and it
Mhm.
was just fabulous. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very
And I'd like
cool.
to second the Robert Beltran talk. Like in his interview, he gets surprised. You just know him as like kind of a rough and tumble guy, kind of
Mhm.
quick with a laugh, kind of quick with whatever, but gives such thoughtful answers and he really opens up
Mhm.
emotionally and like it's just such a real and in-depth you know, interview that he gives.
That's nice. That's
Sirach and I
lovely.
have had him a couple of times, and everything I've seen him do, it's just surprising. You don't expect it because he just kind of
Yeah.
waltzes in, eating his
Mhm.
Twizzlers or
Yeah.
whatever he does, and you got amazing stuff out of him.
yeah,
Mhm.
it was great. It was surprising, but it was wonderful.
I want to
I'll
know,
tell.
did he ever get his breakfast burrito?
You have to ask Garrett.
That is so funny. That's the best part right there.
Oh.
Uh, okay, great question. Um,
Mhm.
let's see. No other questions. Well, then I'll answer that question. My
Ah.
favorite
Oh.
person to interview was Aaron Waltke, because it
Mm.
was the only interview I did. But but I'm sure if I interviewed 30 people, he would have been my
He's a
favorite
great
because
interview.
he's a
But and he
wonderful
was a
guy.
great addition to it. I really do.
That's
Aaron's
cool.
always
Yeah,
a solid
so
he's
interviewer.
an
too. Yeah.
encyclopedia.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so basically that's the answer, everybody. Everything's going out. Everything's being done. If
Mhm.
you are still waiting on something or if you change your email address or some kind of tech issues, voyagerdocumentary@gmail.com. And let's move over to something else. Lolita, we need to let you go in a few minutes, but before you go, we would love to hear a few words from you on the 20-year anniversary of Star Trek Enterprise. This to me is it hits a special place in my heart, this crew. It's like there's this charm there's this what could have been. There's
Mhm.
this almost reached the pinnacle. There's, I get all these feelings like good and bad and bittersweet. Uh, 20 years after the show ends, and I know you represent a lot of these guys, you're close with them. What are your thoughts on the show?
Well, first of all, I have to tell you, I've never seen an episode of Enterprise.
Me
It's
neither.
amazing.
So the only time, you're going through the TV, especially late at night, because I sleep with the TV on. And the only episode, little tiny bits I've seen are of Connor in some sort of shower in his underwear. I kid you.
That's like 70
The
episodes.
important
I was
part,
gonna
really,
say,
yeah.
that's
You
the
know,
majority
yeah.
of it. That's how we see it.
But a couple of things. I felt terrible for those guys that they didn't get their 7 years, because you
Mhm.
come into something like this, and who wouldn't thought they wouldn't have the 7 years?
Yeah.
That was crazy. So I did feel for them. As far as the crew that was left behind from my days, they had a lot more years than those actors did. So I did feel as badly for them. But Connor and Dominic are two of my closest and dearest friends. I'm one of the producers on their Decon Chamber podcast. I've represented them for years. They know I've never seen the show, and it doesn't matter.
I love that. That's awesome.
I also represent Anthony sometimes, and of course John Billingsley. Who can have a bad thing to say about John Billingsley?
Right?
So, and we've had talks, and I actually got most of them on stage on the cruise this last year, I think it was, and asked them what they would think about an Enterprise documentary, if 455 would be
Yeah.
that. And of course, it seems like it would be the next logical step for 455.
Definitely.
So, I can't speak for Dave, but I think it would be a great thing. Having said that, though, we have to finish this Michael Westmore documentary first.
Let's hear about that.
Yes, we're very
Yes.
close. We have 90% of it shot, which is huge.
Oh, wow.
90% shot. Tomorrow is our very last interview at the Westmore's home. They're moving to Las Vegas, and they've been so gracious to open their home up to us, and it's saved us an enormous amount of money. And tomorrow I'm interviewing LeVar Burton, and he's our last Star Trek person that we've needed to
Amazing.
get. Yep. We're also hoping for some other big names that, Michael Westmore didn't just work on Star Trek, which is the whole point of the Star. It's the whole family legacy going back decades, and everything that Michael did until he got to Star Trek, because Star Trek was his last thing before he retired. So,
Right.
there are talks of people like Robert De Niro and Eric Stoltz, and we're really trying to end this thing with a big bang.
Amazing.
Very soon it will start being edited as soon as Joe gets settled in Scotland, and we've been having a lot of meetings about where we want to see this go. So we're really happy with the progress of it, and
That's awesome.
hopefully there'll be no major catastrophes in the world that will slow us down, and no strikes. But I think this will, I would like to say within a year, this might be ready for you guys to see.
Yeah, the world is pretty chill right now. I'm sure there won't be any problems. What were we gonna
Yeah,
say?
right. Well, I
Linda
kinda meant
Anderegg.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Linda Anderegg in the live chat asks, was there a fundraiser for the Westmore documentary?
There was not a fundraiser for the Westmore documentary. We have given all of our time on our own dime, most of us,
Amazing.
for Michael. We do have some backers, of course, and we have some people that Dave is working with right now that are going to come in and fund it so we can get it done and out to you. I can't speak about who they are right now, but so no, there was no open funding for it. But if anybody wants to donate, you're more than welcome. We have had a few people donate privately. So
Oh, lovely.
Very cool.
You could just email voyagerdocumentary@gmail.com for information on that. voyagerdocumentary@gmail.com. Dave Zappone, I texted him. I asked the question that somebody asked earlier, which was, did you get access to the Voyager footage in order to remaster to HD? And he says, no, CBS shut down that department since What We Left Behind.
That's kind of what I thought,
Unfortunately.
but I didn't want to give the wrong answer.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's straight from
Yeah.
Dave's phone, I think.
Yeah, you guys have to remember that CBS, Paramount, whatever you want to call it now, has changed
Viacom,
so much. I don't even know what the hell it is, but
Skydance.
Yeah.
what's so sad to me is that for years and years since the 60s, Star Trek was filmed there.
Yeah.
No Star Trek there at all. And it's really depressing that there's very little
Yeah.
going on at that lot and there's no Star Trek.
Yeah.
So,
Why would you do this to us, Canada? Anyway.
Come on, Jenny.
Hey,
yeah.
we're stepping up.
Jenny's out in Canada.
You know?
Lolita. She's the Star Trek thief. But
We're
Lolita,
stepping up.
we want to thank you very much for partying with us today. It's
Of
always
course.
the best having you with us.
Yeah.
We can't wait.
Anytime.
We'll see you
Always
in
happy.
Vegas. We'll see you in
Yay.
documentaries, and we'll see you soon.
Yes.
We root for the same team, so we'll be texting.
Yeah, thank you. Anytime. I'm always happy to join you
Wait,
guys.
Warriors?
Thank you.
Warriors fans?
Yay.
Yes, and Giants and all the
Oh,
above.
yes, all of
And
those.
now the Valkyrie.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Lolita.
Thank you. Let's see if I can do this. Did I do
Close
it right?
enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've only been practicing for 35 years. So. All right. I love you all. Take care.
Love you too. See you soon.
Bye.
Oops.
He's the coolest.
I was going to remove her and I accidentally hit the report button, but I was able to cancel it. I don't want to report her. She was like, I'm
Oh,
sorry
no.
I didn't stick the thumbs out, dude. I'm sorry I did it like this. Anyway. All right. Dead Purple 7, the winner of the Valkyries shirt, says, thank you for your time, Lolita. Dave Gregory says, thanks, Lolita. Dave Gregory also says, much love. Joshua Reeves says, hi, Dead Purple 7. Tracker Rex says, huge thanks to Lolita. Chuck A says, thank you, Lolita. Linda Anderegg loves Lolita. Lots of very nice things to say to her.
She's
Mostly
pretty great.
thanks. So,
Pretty great.
back to work, everybody.
Mm.
Here it is. This is from our friends over at screenrant.com.
Dun dun dun.
By the way, everybody, can you believe it's the Matt Boardman's birthday? This is so fun. There's so many things going on. Can't keep up.
Happy
Perfect timing.
birthday.
Hey, thanks.
I know. Why are you here? It's so weird.
Because I love hanging out with you guys.
That's nice.
I thought about that. I was like, wait,
Aw.
is he doesn't have to, you could, like, if you want to go party, go party.
Dude, I don't. That's Thursday. That's Thursday.
Yeah.
What
Fanfest
if
night's
what
on
if
Thursday.
this is a party too?
It is. It
Maybe
is a
Lolita.
party for me.
Come
love it.
on. Okay. Anyway, well, we're happy that you chose us instead of cake and stuff. Screenrant.com. Our friend John Orchiola wrote this. I use the term friend lightly. 20 years ago, Enterprise ending gave Star Trek the
Rude.
chance for a rebirth, but it took years. I'm confused by this. Wait, Enterprise ending gave Star Trek the chance for a rebirth, but it took years. Melissa, will you please elucidate for us?
Oh, because it took years for the reboots to start up again.
Yes.
So it allowed for a rebirth of Star Trek with 2009, but it took years, and then there was a reboot upon a reboot with Discovery, and then
Yeah.
because they all kind of take place around the same, well, not same era, but like they're the prequels to
Yeah.
TOS. So
I remember there was a while there where every new production was a prequel. There was Enterprise, then there was 3 JJ movies, then there was Discovery.
Yeah.
There's like 5 productions in a
now Strange
row
World.
were prequels.
Worlds.
Yeah, but this was in a row.
Yeah.
There was a moment,
Right.
there was a time there where people were going like, can we just
Yeah.
go forward, please?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
just for a
So,
moment.
yeah, and for the record, we do not need another casting of Spock and Kirk and all of those people.
Oh my gosh.
We love
Melissa.
who are playing them now. We love who
Yeah.
played them in the movies. We loved who played them in the past, but we don't need to regurgitate this over and over and
Right.
over and over and over again.
Agreed.
Yeah, no, we've had a lot of Kirks and Spocks now, right? We've had
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
3.
Get all
Yeah.
your Kirks in a row.
Get
Yeah.
all your Kirks in a row and get those
Yeah.
Spocks.
Here's
Ooh.
another interesting point of this article here. He mentions Star Trek was on a downward trend before Enterprise was canceled. Franchise fatigue hit Star Trek hard. Do we believe in franchise fatigue? Because I remember kind of the play-by-play of the 4 years of Enterprise in the early 2000s. It was after the second season, there were already murmurs like, is it going to get canceled? Might it get canceled? It's
Yeah.
not doing very well. And then they saved it for a third season, new
Mhm.
showrunner, the Zindi, they kind of picked back up. And then even after that, they're like, oh, it might get canceled again after season 3. It might get canceled. It might get canceled. And everybody was freaking out. And then they renewed it for a fourth season. And after the fourth season, they're like, okay, we can't
Yeah.
keep doing this. This is a business. And then they canceled it. And they cited franchise fatigue. I remember was the term they used.
Yeah.
It
So-
wasn't
That's
though.
BS. Yeah.
What was
Yeah.
it then?
Well,
There was go ahead.
no, you go ahead. No, you go ahead. You
Well,
were ready.
well, just hearing Connor and Dominic talk about it in
Mhm.
the past through varying interviews, because even with the seventh rule, I think that's where I heard it was the interview
They have
from
guests
the
sometimes,
seventh
yeah.
rule. Or maybe it was virtual TrekCon. Anyway, I digress. But it had more to do with the unsettling way that UPS viewed Star Trek and the way they worked with the producers and the writers
Yep.
and all of that. It wasn't Star Trek fatigue so much as they weren't willing to work with the people who are
Yeah.
creating
Yeah.
Star Trek. And Enterprise wasn't syndicated like
Exactly.
Deep Space Nine and TNG and Voyager. They were
Yeah.
all syndicated, so they were
Mhm.
guaranteed a certain amount of episodes.
Yeah.
But Enterprise didn't have that safety net.
Yeah.
Yep.
And didn't they do the old classic like moving the time slot around and like
Oh yeah.
Right.
it was one of
Yes.
those like
Well, it was weird. It was
When-
Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
like the network is like no people aren't watching, but it's like but you're not promoting it.
At
You're
one
not
point they moved it
making
over
it.
Right.
in the fourth season, they moved it only to Snapchat, which was weird because Snapchat didn't even exist yet.
Mhm.
Like clearly they're sabotaging. By the way, Linda Anderegg says it's also my late sister Sandy's birthday.
Oh.
So happy birthday to your late
Mhm.
sister
Birthday.
Sandy. Man, siblings are just the best.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
who was it? Oh, Matt in the live chat, not the Matt, but Matt says, I'm a Voidoc backer. Didn't find it. Great.
Ooh.
I may have added a comma in there.
Punctuation is key. That
Anyway.
Oxford comma that'll get you
Still
every single time.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't find it.
Mhm.
Great.
Great.
Anyway, so this final episode, Matt, 20 years ago, 20 years ago, Matt watches that final episode for the first time. What were your, you're looking at me like, you want me to be honest?
Well, no, okay. I just remember I was so upset that Enterprise was being canceled because I loved it. And I was even more so that the last episode was on my birthday. And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, this is freaking crap that it's on my birthday. It's the last episode. I was so mad, because it was, I mean, it's still kind of the early days of, I don't want to say the early days of the internet, but like
Mhm.
I didn't have as much knowledge of how things worked back then as I do now.
Sure.
And so I was just,
Hmm.
I was like old man yells at the cloud, ah, like um just being not happy that it was over
Hmm.
because I don't know, I enjoyed the show. I remember not at first I was uncertain what to think about it, right? There were things about it that were different.
Hmm.
But as time went on, I don't know, I love the cast. When we say, okay, Star Trek was starting to suffer from franchise fatigue, that's up there with Star Trek is dying.
Right.
Hmm.
That's an excuse. If there was franchise fatigue, then people wouldn't be buying books. They wouldn't be buying merch. They wouldn't be anxious. I think more so it was just a matter of there's been people who are in charge of this that have been making Star Trek for a long time.
Hmm.
And, I think Manny Coto was a nice infusion
Hmm.
of a different perspective that started to tell some really fun stories in the fourth season, but it was unfortunately too little too late. So it's like, yeah, I mean, I was 20 years ago, I was like, damn, I have to
Yeah.
cancel it on my birthday.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it sounds like an excuse to me. Like
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
franchise
would agree.
fatigue. This is an excuse that you're
totally.
feeding me to make me be
Well,
malleable to what you want to do.
Yeah.
you know what I think?
What do
I
you
think
think?
that like three things in total, honestly, it's pretty sad. But here's one of them.
Football,
Yeah, basketball.
Bears meets Battlestar
basketball.
Yeah,
Galactica.
yeah. So, it does sound almost like it's not our fault kind of thing. If you say
Right.
franchise fatigue,
Yeah, exactly.
you're saying, well, it's not that we didn't write good scripts. It's not that this, it's not that. I'm not saying those are the case. I'm just
Hmm.
saying when you hear the term franchise fatigue, translation is, well, it's kind of your fault, fans.
Hmm.
You guys
Right.
don't support Star Trek
Yeah,
as
which
much as you
is
used to.
rude.
I mean, I don't know. It's just that's what is read between the lines there is that
Hmm.
Mhm.
they're saying it's not us, it's you, or at the very least, it's just the circumstances. It's them saying there's nothing we could do about it. We tried our
Mhm.
best,
Right.
but it's just there's just franchise fatigue. People don't care about Star Trek anymore. Maybe they're right. I'm just saying that's what it sounds like. Is it possible that after 17 years of Star Trek coming out every single year from 87 to 2004, is it possible that people just cared a little bit less, jumped on a little bit less just because of their interest in the show, not because of the product?
I feel like that if you don't advertise as well as maybe you could, or
Mhm.
maybe that the other shows got, because I'm not sure that I knew that Enterprise existed for a long time.
Oh man, I
Yeah.
loved it so much.
Me too.
Uh, for and then when I did hear about its existence, it was all negative, negative, negative. And
Exactly.
then I finally sat
Hmm.
down to watch it, and I was like, "What are people talking about?
Hmm.
This is a great show.
That's
This is
so
a
charming. I love,
really
yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is very
great
charming.
show."
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't understand the hate, but I think that if you as a company or a production company are not putting out there that hey, I have this product, we have this product, watch it, or hey, we have this
Prodigy.
product and we're gonna put it on at 9 p.m. on a Friday night.
Hmm.
That's rude.
Yeah,
How are people
yeah.
supposed to go and watch it when you're not setting up the show for success?
totally.
You didn't set the show up for success, so of course it's not going to succeed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, and it's also interesting too that like I mean, you think about it, 2005, that's really kind of the starting point. Like that's Star Trek with a lot of people having access to the internet, right? Because I mean, I worked with a guy, David Takamura, who was a PA on Next Generation. And back
Nice.
then, he had to field calls from people who were like, I hate this new cast. They're not Kirk and Spock's,
Yeah, yeah.
and death threats to people about, I mean, like, come on,
Yeah.
seriously, come on, it's a TV show, people, but that's legitimately some of the calls that they would receive,
Yeah.
and letters, and just hateful letters, and stuff, and same with Deep Space Nine. But now we get
Right.
to Enterprise, and all of a sudden, now it people don't have to write a letter in, although I'm sure they probably did. But now it's like I get to jump online, and I'm a keyboard warrior, and I'm going to tell you how much I dislike the show,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it reaches more people, whereas like when we didn't have access to that, it was like you were able to form your own opinion about the show. And I don't know, it's like, oh, I like this show. And then
Yeah.
when you start hearing people didn't, like for me, Deep Space Nine, when I heard people didn't like Deep Space Nine, I was like, what? Well,
What
I
are you
don't,
talking about?
yeah, exactly. I didn't
Jenny,
understand that.
come on.
Yeah. The Jennies of the world.
Just give it up.
There's
Oh
a
my God.
there's a language barrier, you guys. You gotta go easy. You know what
Oh
I
my
was
God.
fantasizing about while you guys were keeping the audience entertained? I was
Hmm.
like, man, if we could get a hold of like 40 million bucks and
Mhm.
get a fifth season of Enterprise,
Yep.
10 episodes, because that's what it is nowadays. And I was
Hmm.
really thinking 50 million, but I was like, but you tell them 40 million because there's
Yeah.
always going to be extra. It's always going to go up, you know?
Yeah.
But
Right,
then I was like
right.
thinking, I was like, how cool would that be to
Mm.
get that crew back together again
Hmm.
20 years later
Yes.
for a 10 episode arc? Maybe Terry Matalas to show run it or something like that. I mean, it would just be so
Oh
cool.
yeah.
And
And
I was
Trip
thinking,
did live.
Yeah,
oh no,
hashtag
he's
Trip's not dead.
gone. He's dead.
No,
Um,
Trip lives.
and then
Hmm.
I was thinking,
He's
or
still in the shower.
maybe a movie instead, but I think the fans would rather see 10 episodes than one big blockbuster movie. Maybe
Hmm.
I'm wrong. Let
Agreed.
us know in the live chat. Would you rather see, let's say, would you rather see a 10 episode fifth season or two movies? Like a to be continued, just two giant movies.
10 episode 50s, fifth season.
Yeah, because it's just more Star Trek altogether.
Hmm.
Anyway, that would just be like this beautiful thing that we could do for
It
Star Trek.
would.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
let me see. We if let's all see what we have off the air and see what I mean. It probably won't be all of it, but maybe
Hmm.
I don't know. Inflation does that count in our
I have
favor or
three
against us?
dollars in my wallet.
Um,
But but
you can
I
invest it.
there's something that goes to prove franchise fatigue wrong. And that is the fact that Star Trek has been around and has still been kicking for
Hmm.
60 years.
Yeah.
60 years. And every time the powers that be try to get rid of it, it's the
Hmm.
fans who rally together to bring it back so that we get more Star Trek. So it
Yeah.
isn't franchise fatigue. That is just an excuse because it's there is no franchise fatigue.
Exactly.
Star Trek fans are
Yeah,
still as ravenous for Trek as they were 60 years ago.
Hmm. Yep.
I
Absolutely.
would agree. And you need go no further than a creation Star Trek convention to see
Mm-hmm.
that passion.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
people who wear the really cool costumes, that do amazing cosplay, people writing fan fictions,
Mm-hmm.
people doing fan films, people who, the books and everything. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's just it's there's still just a lot going on that
Yeah.
people love this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So back to this final episode of Enterprise. Jenny, I'm going to ask you because Melissa, you probably knew what to expect in one way or another. You probably heard something. Oh, well, then we'll get to you next. Jenny, when you
Did
first
I?
watched that last episode of Enterprise,
Maybe.
were you disappointed? Were you
So
happy to see Riker and Troy, or were you
it's
bummed that they upstaged our pals?
so I watched the finale before I watched the show, really, because my friend was really into it and I was like, I didn't have cable or whatever it was that was happening at that point. I wasn't watching it as it was airing. So, but then he had a bunch of us over and was like, hey, the last episode's on tonight. We should watch it. And I was confused. I was very confused. And then, like, Riker and Troy were there, I was like, this seems, even having not watched the show at all, I was like, this seems kind of weird, right? Anyway, but when I did watch the whole show many years later, I knew it was coming and it lived up to my
How did you
expectations.
feel? How did you feel?
I felt yucky. I felt yucky about it. I didn't like that it was just like zipping through all this stuff and then I mean, and listen, you know how I love Frakes, right? I love
Yes.
him. I love Riker. But I was like, Riker, get out of here, man. Like, this is nuts. No, get out of here. Like, no, you've had your chance. Also, it was like the hair and it was a little
It
the like
wasn't quite right.
the time jump was a little ham-fisted. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah. But to be fair, like and listen, I love Enterprise. I love Enterprise. Love, 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 love.
Is it top 3 Star Trek series for you?
I don't know. I
Oh, that's
I
right. Yeah.
there's oh my God, no. Like I can't like I don't have a top three. I don't have like because it depends on what I'm watching.
And where
Star
you
Trek.
are in your life and what your
Yes.
mood is. And
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. It really does because when I'm in the middle of Deep Space Nine, I'm like, holy crap, this is frigging amazing. You know?
Crap.
Oh my God. I'm gonna
Well, okay, those are all great points. Melissa, you didn't know it was coming. You didn't know that Riker and Troy were coming back.
No, I didn't
How
actually.
How
did
did you
you
feel about
feel?
it?
I
Well,
was confused. I was like, wait, that can't be the last episode.
I
I was
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
waiting for the
that's it,
next
exactly.
episode to come. I was like, wait, that was the last episode? I You built up this story about these people, and then you're gonna give the last episode away entirely to somebody else because
Yeah,
why? What for? You do a
yeah,
disservice to the people that you've invested your time in for these past four
yeah,
seasons. I want to see about them. I want to hear their stories.
yeah,
We can go to TNG and see Riker stories
yeah.
and
I
Troy
want to hear
stories.
the speech.
I want to hear the speech. Well, that was good. That was probably the best part, the
Mhm.
speech
But we didn't
that
get to hear
Archer did.
the whole thing.
No, no, but I was like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair to
Mhm.
the actors on the
No.
show, the everyone who put this show together. It's not fair to throw that away or give it to somebody else because
Yeah,
it's not theirs to
exactly.
give. It's yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
Exactly.
I can actually remember how I felt watching it the day that it came out. It didn't ruin my birthday.
Good.
Um,
Lucky.
no, there was no Star Trek on my birthday. Star Trek was already over. I just had to sit there like this and watch I
Hmm.
don't know, football or something. No, there was no football at that time of the year. Anyway, the point is, I think they advertised that Troy and Riker were coming back. I
Yeah.
think there were commercials to make you
Which
excited. Like, well, we're just excited. We're like, oh my God, my favorite next generation people are back. Oh my God, this is so exciting. I mean, I was
like
excited. The
why didn't they
same,
do that in the middle of season 3?
I don't know,
Right.
but it was kind of like when they advertised that Nog was coming back in Voyager. Aaron, the actor that plays
Yeah.
Nog is coming back.
Yeah,
They
sure.
advertise it, and it made us super excited.
Mhm.
And then they advertised the big show, the wrestling big show on Enterprise and the Rock. They would do
Right.
these things that would kind of
Right.
on
Yeah.
commercials. So they did that, and it made me excited. What? Riker and Troy? This is really cool and exciting and fun. I
Mhm.
can't wait to check it out. And then I watched it, and it was kind of, it's kind of
Yeah.
ho-hum. Like I wanted to like it. I was happy that Riker and Troy were back. So
Mhm.
that kind of masked what otherwise would have been disappointment. I think I was just happy to see. I was convinced that this is supposed to be good because you're getting to see your old buddies again, like Picard
Yeah.
season 3. But that actually was good. So anyway, but then like looking back at it,
Mhm.
later on, it was just not a very good episode. It was because I wanted to see when they announced what Enterprise was.
Mhm.
I thought it was going to be a series about the forming of the Federation and those first couple years. I mean,
Right.
and it just turned out that we're going to get, excuse me, we're going to get 10 minutes of the formation of the Federation at the very end of the series. I thought that's what the series was going to be about. So, yeah,
Yeah.
missed possibilities.
Yeah.
It certainly was not the Valentine to fans that we were promised.
No.
The
No,
what
it
was promised?
not.
It was there was one particular producer who said that this final episode of Enterprise was a Valentine to the fans.
Mhm.
Oh, a love letter to the fans, eh?
Yeah, sure. That did not go very well.
Mm-mm. No. No.
Live chat. Scale of 1 to 10. What would you give the last episode of Enterprise? And then we're moving on. Scale of 1 to 10. What would you give the final episode of Enterprise? And 1 to 10, what would you give Enterprise, the series itself? All right. And while they type away feverishly on that, we will move on. We've made too many compromises already.
The line is drawn here.
I love the series. I love it.
I do too.
So,
I really love it.
I do too.
It's so
Speaking of-
earnest.
speaking of last
Yeah.
episode,
Ryan's like trying to move on. We're just like, hang on.
yeah, no, I mean,
Wait.
but this is
Wait.
really is speaking of last episode, unfortunately.
Right. More
We
bad
have
news.
I refuse
Some
to believe it.
nudes, you guys.
Oh,
That's bad.
Well, we have some news, you guys.
Okay.
And that news
Well, Lisa.
is from whatsonnetflix.com, everybody's favorite website about what's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Star Trek Prodigy season 3 has passed on. I mean, passed on by Netflix seasons 1 and 2 to leave soon. That's a double whammy. So they're saying not only are they not picking it up for a third season, they're dropping
I know.
Prodigy completely. Why did it do that poorly? How is this possible? It couldn't have done any worse than half the stuff I see scrolling on Netflix when there's like, watch this,
Right.
watch this. I'm like, no chance I'm watching it. Not
Yeah.
clicking on
Right.
that. Zero desire.
Yeah.
What's going on here? This is the saddest news
Yeah.
It's
in a long
so
time.
sad.
Speaking
Yeah.
of shows that have not been like championed at all
Right.
by
Yes.
the studio. Like,
yeah.
At all.
Okay. I will say that having talked to some people behind the scenes, that it is the studio itself loves Prodigy, right? But it was a
they
decision.
could tell people that.
I know, right? I know. But that's yeah, exactly. That's the thing is it's like, why do we not see more promotion for Prodigy?
Exactly.
Why
Exactly.
do we not? I mean, it was just
So
No,
what's
and where's
the
the
issue
Prodigy
then?
merch?
Yeah.
And where's
That's the thing. Like, yeah,
Prodigy?
yes, Netflix picked it up, but like Paramount, it was like Netflix picked it up and Paramount was just like, oh well, boop a doop a doop, boop a doop boop, gay. That didn't come out right.
I thought you
Bleh.
said K.
Anyway,
Yeah, I
That's so too.
She's like,
Anyway,
K. Moving on.
K.
K.
but like you know what I mean? It like had Paramount boom, championed it. Hey, look, we have this platform. We're not showing it here, but hey, we have some stuff to say about it. You can go over there and watch it, but they didn't do that. So,
Yeah, well, and it's the article it's not that because Netflix still has not given an official word that like no, we are not going to
mhm.
pick it up. It's done. It's whatever, thanks for playing. We're moving on, right? It's just nothing has been said. And so, and I forget which of the Hagermans that said it was that typically at this point, if nothing has been said,
Yeah.
then that's not good
Mhm.
news,
Yeah.
So it's like there's the part of me that's fighting. It's like, no, I want to hold on. I want to hold on to that hope. But it's like
I know.
you have to be at some point you have to be realistic about what this
Oh,
means.
right, because people need jobs. They have to work, so they have to plan for their future. They just can't hold on
Mhm.
indefinitely for an
Hold on for one
answer.
more day.
Yeah, exactly.
I know the fare is paid, but you hold on for one more day and you. Okay.
Ah, I can't do this poll.
I know
So we've got a
that's
poll in the live
Mhm.
chat, you guys. Which cancellation was more disappointing? Say at the time when it happened. Prodigy, Discovery, Enterprise, or Lower Decks. Wow, there have been 4 gut-wrenching, surprising cancellations. Although I don't know if
Mhm.
Enterprise was surprising, because like I said, I remember hearing
Mhm.
that it may get canceled like for 2 or 3 years straight, like after season 2,
Yeah.
after
Yeah, but it
season
was
3.
I mean, it was a surprise to them, wasn't it? Like it wasn't it like they didn't have a lot of notice that this is
Yeah,
it.
for
So
for
but
too.
that's also the same
Enterprise.
thing with
Yeah.
Lower Decks, where it's like they hear that it could happen, but they don't really
Right.
know. Does that mean it's 1% chance or 80% chance? They don't
Mhm.
really know. So when it happens, it's still kind of gotta be a
Right.
shock.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and the worst part of it is typically when you find out that your show has been canceled, it's not because somebody at the studio let your production company know that, hey, we're not going to pick you up. It's you
Yeah.
find out in the trades. It's like all of a sudden you wake up one morning, you check, and Variety's got an article about, oh, such and such show has been canceled. That, and you're like,
Right.
oh, wait
Why
a
does
minute.
Variety always know? They really do, though. How do they do that? I thought it was like
They
a
got
makeup
insider.
magazine. I don't know.
It's the way like if you're gonna get divorced in Hollywood, you like put it out to People magazine first. Like it's just
Right.
it's
There's
there's
still a
the place
People
that you
magazine?
yeah, there
Oh,
is.
Mhm.
yeah.
Believe it or
Yep.
not, yeah.
Yep.
Wow. What
And
other
that's like the
magazines?
reputable place, right? If you just want to get the
Oh,
news out, you go to TMZ, but if you want to like be like fancy about it, then you go to People.
Right. Hollywood Reporter says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh
But
yeah,
variety's the
THR
place to go for
for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Trek news,
And it
stuff.
apparently.
and
Yeah.
it's
Well,
it
all
sucks because you're
kinds of
just like all of a
media.
sudden you're like, oh wait a minute, we're not coming back.
Yeah, and remember because the
You
studios were
just
using Variety as a
Hmm.
during the strike
Hmm.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
as a little
infiltration.
I don't
propaganda
know
machine.
which one is most disappointing because they're all disappointing for
Yeah.
their own reasons.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't choose.
Can you eliminate one?
No,
No.
I don't want to be rude.
You're like, I could take one of them out of this thing. Well, I mean, I guess the way I look at it is that feeling you get when you first hear the news. Some of
Mhm.
them is like a are like a punch in the stomach.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it's like a real gut punch. And I feel like Prodigy,
Yeah.
for how much I love it, doesn't have that because it
Oh.
it feels like it's been kind of getting soft canceled. You know, like first it
I
was
know what you
Yeah.
mean. Yeah.
removed from.
Yep.
So it was
Mhm.
it's kind of like if we news comes out that Star Trek Legacy will never happen, we'll
Right.
be like, well, that hurts a little bit less now, 2 years later, after we've kind of been it's kind of been dragged through the
Yeah.
mud and nothing's
Mhm.
happening and whatever. So that's why I don't, because like if you think about it, when we heard Lower Decks was canceled, it was just like out of nowhere,
Yeah.
right? When
Mhm.
we heard Discovery was canceled, it was a shock. We
Yeah.
thought for sure that one was going 7 seasons. It's the
Yeah,
flagship.
absolutely.
So this one is less of a shock and more of
Right.
just like, it's
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
like, it's just to me, it just feels depressing because I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, why you guys got to do this to Prodigy, man?
Yeah.
We've been trying
I
so
I
hard with these
know.
guys.
know.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
I know.
Such a
Well, but
great, amazing show.
Hmm.
yeah, it is. I will say it was a punch in the gut the first time Paramount said they weren't going to release season two. They were removing
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
Prodigy
was crazy.
immediate.
Yeah.
That
that
I
was a
was
was like,
shock.
Yeah. That was
yeah.
like,
doing and why?
what are we
Because
doing
it
here?
was kind of
Yeah.
violent in a way, you know? It was just
It
like,
Very.
we're
felt
not going to show you
very,
season two, and
yeah.
Yes.
we're freaking dumping season one off here, so good luck,
Yeah.
you know? It's
Yeah,
like,
it was more
what
Yeah.
like
the heck?
anti-Digi.
Hmm.
Okay, never mind.
Ah, yeah, that was gross.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, and then but Lower Decks was a punch in the gut.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Even though they were writing it with
Right, just in
the
case.
the
Yeah.
gentle expectation that they wouldn't get renewed each season, you know, that they
but
were.
Hmm.
but even that one was kind of a, I mean, it hurt, but I kind of, the way that Mike was always kind of like,
Yeah.
well, if you want to keep this going, you got to watch it. It's like, I
Hmm.
almost wonder if he kind of knew, like they
Yes.
were on
Yeah.
the brink, you know, like, and that's why he's
Hmm.
in his very subtle way of saying, well, you got to
Yeah.
watch it. If it, and I'm like, who's not watching this?
Hmm.
There's
Why are
I,
people not
probably
I still
always
haven't
a
finished the
way
last season, eh?
Oh,
of Lower Decks.
Hmm.
are you like trying to
Well,
extend
She
out?
doesn't like it, that one
oh
either.
my God, no, I love it. I'm like saving it for special now. I was gonna watch it all and then I was like, no, well, wait, now it's like new. It's still new
Jenny.
in my brain. It's still new. So I can like,
Ah, which means you
I'm going
haven't
to
seen
watch
the
it.
last two episodes,
I
which are
know.
fantastic. They're
I
fantastic.
just need to wait
Yeah,
until
they're
things
really
settle
good.
down just a little bit.
Okay.
Did you watch all of Prodigy?
Yes. Yes, I did. And I,
Because I've
mwah,
saved
mwah,
two
mwah, mwah.
episodes of Star Trek 2 myself.
I was gonna say yeah, you did. You did. I knew somebody else had said that they did that. What was it?
Short treks, the last two short treks.
Right.
I was like, that way I'll always have
Yep.
two new
Yeah.
Star Trek episodes. I mean, they're
Yeah.
shorties, but I haven't watched them.
Yeah. I mean,
The
I
last
will watch
two.
Lower Decks because I love it and I want to
So good.
give it my attention.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's close this poll in the live chat. The depressing poll of the day.
Hmm.
Which cancellation was more disappointing? 3% said Discovery. I think that was probably Melissa.
I didn't vote.
20% said Prodigy. 36% said Lower Decks. And 40% said Enterprise.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Jimmy Voltron has a good question. Hi, Jimmy Voltron. He says, why are we complaining so much? And you know what? That's a really good question. And B, it's, I mean, you know, because we just like our stuff and, you know, we want the things that we like to continue. But the next point that he makes is that we have so much Star Trek. We have 60 years of Star Trek and we're so freaking lucky.
Man, next year is the 60th. That's exciting.
Yeah.
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 Well,
We have
6 years with the
we have
cage.
reruns and reruns and reruns and reruns and reruns. And yeah, we have a
But
whole
you know,
universe.
but it doesn't matter if it's Star Trek, you know, when you are invested in a show,
Of
it
course,
doesn't
yeah.
matter if it's Star Trek, it doesn't matter, you know, it could be, I don't know, you say you're invested in Friends and you know that it's ending, or, you know, Seinfeld or whatever, you know, it's just, you know, that is something that you look forward to, right? It becomes a part of your life. You look
Mhm.
forward
Yeah.
to it all the, and yes, we can go back and we watch reruns, but I don't know. It's
Mhm.
it's always endings are sad. A lot of times
Absolutely.
endings are sad. Yes,
Absolutely.
once you can gain some perspective on it and look back and say, hey, we have all those reruns that we can watch. That's
Hmm.
fantastic. But
Yeah.
in the
Oh,
moment,
absolutely. Yeah.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
like in a way, it's like a breakup, right? Because
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
your heart is just crushed because you're breaking up with this person. You're like, I will never love again, right?
That was a good song. Who was it? Debbie Gibson?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. I
I
think
will never love again.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
Or Tiffany. Is it Tiffany or is it
Yeah,
Debbie
I think you might be
Gibson?
right. I think you might be right.
Is it
I don't
Tiffy
know
or
it
Debbie?
well.
Find out.
Uh,
Um, um,
I
what was
don't
I?
know.
Oh, nuts. What was I gonna say? Oh, but we also have, there's Star Trek in the pipe, man.
And that's the
There
difference between
This is very,
Enterprise
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
and yeah,
Enterprise was
now.
like, bam, that's it. Forget any new Star Trek for a bazillion years.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
We're
no
gonna throw the
indication.
sets in the garbage.
It's Debbie
We
Literally.
Gibson.
did.
It's Debbie Gibson,
we're
you
we're
guys.
gonna
And the
Thank
bulldoze
song
the
is
thank
called
you.
sets.
Foolish Beat.
There you go.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And I
that's
like
at
that
least
song.
we're still at a point, we've got Strange New World season 3 that we haven't even seen yet. We've got 4 filming currently.
Yeah,
We've
and Starfleet Academy
in the
next
can.
year. Yeah, yeah.
Ew.
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Uh,
So,
yes. So the point is, there's a lot to be happy about, of
yes.
course.
Mhm.
Star Trek fans wouldn't be Star Trek fans though if they didn't wish they had. I mean, Deep Space Nine fans, Jenny, you could take this part off, but Deep Space Nine fans, even though we got 7 full seasons, are still like, oh my God, I want a movie so bad. I want to see a Where They Are
Yeah.
Now movie
Of
so bad.
Mhm.
course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but and then people are like, Next Generation, I love it, but you had it. You've been covered. You got
Well, yeah.
A
They had
lot.
a very
Yeah.
they're
satisfying. They
good to
had a very
go.
satisfying
4
Yeah.
send off.
movies. Although the first movie was definitely, Paramount or whatever saying like, well, let's make sure that they can carry a movie by
Yeah.
tossing in some TOS people in there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we don't
The
know for sure
passing
if
of the
these
torch.
newbies. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Torch done been passed, fellas.
And they got Picard.
That was the
Yeah,
big
they
one.
And
have.
they've got Picard. Yeah.
Hmm.
3
Yeah.
seasons.
Yeah. Which is amazing. I think that's
Okay.
cool. But yeah, I feel like there's
Okay.
other parts of the universe that deserve that attention.
If
Exactly.
So,
you could hire Terry Metalis to either do a 10 episode season
Mhm.
now for Voyager, or give them the Picard treatment, the 10 episode season. Voyager, Deep Space Nine, or Enterprise.
DS9 would
That's
be
kind
harder
of
because some of our favorites are no longer with us.
But it
Mhm.
also has
you
the
could
biggest
do
cast. So,
tributes
yeah.
Yeah.
and you could allude to them anyway. And ordinarily, I would personally say for my personal Deep Space Nine, but I'm gonna say Enterprise because
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
I think it's earned it.
Hmm.
It
I
it
It's
think it's
well,
left
okay.
earned it.
incomplete more than the others. Yeah.
Right. And the
Exactly.
reason
Exactly.
why Terry did season 3 the way that he did is because he felt the Next Generation cast didn't get a proper send off in Nemesis,
Yeah.
right? And what of
Mm.
all of this other series deserves a better send off than what they got?
Exactly.
Enterprise. So I'm
Yeah,
right there with you,
Enterprise.
Melissa.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I mean with Voyager we got Prodigy and we got
Yeah.
to see more of the Voyager people.
That's
So
true.
and then we got some characters from Deep Space Nine and Lower Decks,
Yeah.
but Enterprise is still being,
Mhm.
redheaded stepchild.
I think the
Mhm.
thing about Deep Space Nine is that the ending is so good. Like it's so well done that there's I mean obviously there's like unanswered questions and you want to see what happened next, but it's such a beautifully like finished, you
Yeah.
know, like yeah.
Do you guys remember the episode of Friends where Joey's reading Little Women
Yes.
and he gets sad and they put the book in the freezer?
Uh-huh.
That's kind of how I am with the finale of
No.
Deep Space Nine. I cannot
Yeah.
watch
Why they put it in the
after
freezer?
after Cisco and Ducat fall into the fire caves because
Oh
it
Mhm.
my
makes me too
gosh.
sad. I don't want to say
That
goodbye.
montage at the end
Yeah.
I
Oh
is
oh
gosh.
Mhm.
unreal, dude.
Gosh, it
Oh
just
my
guts
every
me
God.
time
every
I'm a
time.
wreck.
Mhm.
Wow,
Every
it's
single
incredible.
time I'm
Yeah.
I want to go watch it right now.
I
even when
can't.
they're in Vic's bar and
Oh,
they're
yeah.
singing.
Well, and you know what makes me even more sad is knowing that that was the last scene that they filmed, and that
Yeah.
everybody, as they were, that's when they were calling out them, like they were wrapping everybody out, and I'm just
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
oh
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
So we've
Yeah.
got a poll in the live chat, the same question I asked, which is you hired Terry Matalas to do a 10-episode season of options are Enterprise, Deep Space Nine, Voyager.
Mhm.
When Trex fan says, "Why is Ryan so mean with his choices?"
Well, I guess I can answer that. I'm mean.
Mm. Mhm.
I knew it. I
It's
knew
fueled by
it.
anise flavored jelly beans.
Wait,
Hey.
you said anise, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I
Yeah.
said anise. Yeah,
Not anus.
no.
Melissa P.
Melissa.
Longo.
I'm not even upset
Another
about the anus. I'm thinking about the anus jelly beans. I don't
Black jelly
know.
beans, black licorice.
Yum.
So,
I love those
Black
jelly
licorice,
beans.
bad enough. Jelly beans.
oh, here's a good one.
Blech.
Yum.
Okay, so this is also screenrant.com. Our good friend John Orchiola, that's back in the head in the live chat, follows up with I wish Enterprise Season 5 got to tell the story hinted at
Yeah.
for 59 years.
This was
Mm.
pretty, yeah, this is pretty good.
A big part of Star Trek's 22nd century history could have been answered if Star Trek Enterprise Season 5 had happened. United Paramount Network, UPN, canceled Star Trek Enterprise after Season 4 due to a myriad of factors, such as low ratings, I think that's the big one, and a shift of network priorities. Enterprise's cancellation marked the end of executive producer Rick Berman's 18-year stewardship of the Star Trek franchise.
Mhm.
So let's skip ahead here. Who was the guy that was running CBS at the time? I always forget.
Les Moonbase.
Moonves, yeah. Apparently he
Oh,
hated
yeah.
Star
Marty
Trek from what
McFarderson.
he just never liked it,
Yes.
Yes.
right?
No, he did
Right.
not.
Come on,
He was not a
bro.
fan.
I know. Come on, bro.
It says Star
Killing
Trek
themselves.
Enterprise Season 5 would have told the Romulan War story hinted at by the original series. This is something they've been talking about forever. You guys,
Yeah.
what is going on in this picture, you guys?
WTF.
I'm not sure. It
Oh
feels like
yeah,
that's
this
me.
was in the where the Romulans were
Mhm.
trying to infiltrate Vulcan and and T'Pol's mom had joined the resistance
Mhm.
and they they were trying to I forgot the whole gist of it, but her mom died and um and this other high up Vulcan died, but before he died, he mind melted with Archer and
Yeah.
gave the
Yeah.
the old Vulcan's message, the prophet Vulcan's message to the people,
Mhm.
and he was
Sir, yeah.
destined to yeah. So they
Okay.
thwarted the Romulans' plan to take over the Vulcan government.
Good.
But
I guess
Well
what I
said.
meant was, why is
oh,
Archer
sorry.
being held like this and T'Pol's being held like so? Like I feel like an exaggerated situation going on here.
Mm,
And then I was like, well, maybe Archer's like that too. And I'm like, no, no, he's chill.
mm-mm.
Whereas, I don't know,
I mean, for starters, her clothes
ratings.
are tighter than his,
Yeah, but his
you
are
know.
Well,
sweatier.
But
and I
remember,
was
Vulcans are stronger than
noticing,
humans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and I was noticing how his whole hand wraps around her arm.
Yeah.
It's
She's
like,
very small.
It is a very
it's like,
small arm.
like if he's
Uh,
got, yeah.
It continues. Star Trek Enterprise's season five's central story might have been the Romulan War waged between Starfleet and the Romulan Star Empire. Star Trek, the original series' season one classic episode, Balance of Terror, introduced the Romulans and revealed that in the 22nd century, a war between humans and the insidious aliens was fought with primitive atomic weapons. However, Star Trek Enterprise would likely have simply retconned this, placing Captain Archer and the NX-01 Enterprise on the front lines.
Mm.
Yeah, that would have been.
Mhm.
Oh, here's something. Note: Todd Stashwick, who played Captain Liam Shaw in Star Trek Picard Season 3, portrayed a Romulan operative named
Mm.
Telok, who posed as
Yeah.
a Vulcan in Star Trek Enterprise Season 4. Yeah, that's fun.
Mm.
Good trivia there.
Yeah.
So season five would have been the Romulan War. Everybody's been talking about that for 20 years. Everybody's been hoping that. I was actually in a Star Trek fan film called Star Trek Horizon that was a movie about the Romulan War. And it was actually
Cool.
really well done in somebody's basement, basically in Michigan.
Yeah,
That's
in
so
Michigan.
cool.
Yep. Yeah.
Young guy
That's
too.
And
He
then
was like
cool.
21 or 22. It was
Jackson,
amazing.
Jackson, Michigan. That was what, 30 miles south of where I lived in Lansing at the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's a bummer because I think we would have really enjoyed. I wonder if
Yes.
I was just thinking, I wonder if Strange New Worlds is gonna like tackle it in some kind of like,
Hmm.
time travel thing, or because that's just been lingering forever. John Orkiel is right. It's something they've always alluded to,
Mhm.
Mhm.
and we've never gotten to see.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, I should have added as a cancellation, Section 31 becoming a movie instead of a series.
Oh.
Hmm.
Maybe we'll get a second movie, you guys.
Hmm.
That one honestly was like not shocking because there was such a long, it was like, this thing's happening. And then they were like, I'm not gonna say anything about it. There's nothing happening. There's nothing happening. And then they were finally like, actually, it's a movie. We were like, whoa, you're doing something. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because they keep talking about making movies and we keep waiting for these movies to show up.
Yeah. I will say, I
Mhm.
was looking at this poll and reading the question again and wondering why DS9's behind and thinking I should have voted for D Space Nine. But I voted for Enterprise.
Mhm.
Anyway, I would vote for Deep Space Nine second because Ira and crew and the crew of 455 and
Mhm.
Robert Hewitt Wolf got
Oh
together
yeah.
and wrote an eighth season. So
Yes.
there's already one there and it looks fantastic. So why not
Yes.
follow through on that eighth season?
That oh
Yeah.
gosh, that writer's room was such a cool part of
Special.
that documentary.
Yeah, it was.
I was like,
Mhm.
okay, absolutely, you know that's going to change, but just as an initial pitch, I was like, okay, I'm here for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
speaking of the poll, 14% said Deep Space Nine, 21% said Voyager, and 64% said Enterprise. That's amazing.
Mm.
People say, look, Enterprise needs some love. Uh,
Absolutely.
and it just doesn't seem like, I don't know how that's ever going to happen. I mean, maybe, okay, in Starfleet Academy, they can bring back Archer or T'Pol or anybody, right? Because They're going to have holograms. They're going to have,
Mhm.
historians that go back and
Yep.
talk about these characters. They're going to have incredible holodeck stuff. I mean, like, it's going to be 1,000 years in the future, so they can bring anybody back. I mean, we know there's the Doctor there as a
Yeah.
series
Yep.
regular.
Yeah.
So, that's another show where we might be able to get to see a lot of cameos,
Hmm.
like Lower Decks, but in a different
Right.
way. Lower Decks is just because it's in that era and because it's animated, so they can get away with
Right.
anything. But this is way in the future. They can have, any kind of technology to work that out. So that should be cool. But I don't think they're actually going to revisit Enterprise ever again. They might bring Travis Mayweather is your holographic flight instructor on your, all right, Nova Squadron cadet, here we go, something like that. But
Yeah. See, that's why an anthology series would be awesome.
yes.
Because then we get to see Travis Mayweather and learn more about him and get to see more about Hoshi Sato and what
Love
happened to
that.
her
Yes.
and any of the people who maybe were underserved
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
during their
of
run.
every character in all of Star Trek, I think those two characters are the most desperately underserved.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Good Lord. Good
So,
Lord.
yeah, here's another piece of information, another piece of news, everybody, that we're really going to enjoy throwing your way. It's from Collider.com, and we've got some wrestling news for all of you.
Oh no.
Oh, yes, big time wrestling news.
No.
Becky Lynch is interviewed.
Jeez.
It was always on Starfleet Academy. Star Becky Lynch's favorite Star Trek actor is the most important man in Starfleet. So we know that must be Colomini because she is Irish and he
Mhm.
is Irish.
Yes.
And I like that she calls people dopes. I think that's funny. Melissa, what can you tell us about this article? Good old Becky
Well,
Lynch.
I don't know if folks remember that she has been cast, well, she had been cast in Starfleet Academy. And so she talks about her time on set and how much she enjoyed it. And then talking about her introduction to fandom, where she was a fan, but she wasn't like a huge fan.
Mhm.
But being on set made her a bigger fan. So it sounds like she really enjoyed her experience on the Starfleet Academy set.
Awesome.
And she said that the set itself was, and she's on the bridge
Yeah.
and not on campus. But she said the set is probably one of the most incredible sets that she's ever been on in her
So
entire
cool.
life.
So she's on the bridge, not on campus. Interesting. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That's right. I think she mentioned that before, that she's like an officer or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. Good for her.
Yeah.
I wonder how many other wrestlers they're going to have on there.
It's all
Oh, and then
wrestlers.
I think her husband,
Seth Rollins.
yeah, I forget if he has a connection to Trek as well, and I can't remember if I read that in the article or not.
It said that Seth Rollins visited the production,
Oh, yes, that was
but
his
didn't.
connection to the set.
Right. Oh, and
Yeah.
here's a fun,
Trek.
it's a fun little shot. Here's a little still frame from Starfleet Academy. Everybody enjoy.
Ooh. Whoa. Wait, what? Really?
What the sea sun?
Wait,
I
what?
know.
That is CSUN.
Pretty sure that is a JJ movie.
Yeah, I was gonna
That's
say,
like
what the
right
heck?
That's right across the street from me.
Yeah.
I just walked up there the other day.
We
Yeah.
actually visited there
We
with
did.
the Voyager documentary when we had our away missions. First, we went to the Sea Sun Turtle Pond and hung out with the turtles. And then we walked
Nice.
over to those actual steps where they were setting up for graduation. So it was a little roped off, but it was fun to watch them set it up. But yeah, that was a cool thing to see. That's why we recognized it so well.
That's pretty cool.
Oh.
CSUN is Cal State Northridge, of course. Cal State University Northridge.
Yeah.
I see.
Cal is short for California.
I gotcha.
Not Calgary.
And state is short
and not
for
Calcutta.
the state.
We actually study
gosh.
geography in our schools.
The State was a pretty good show back in the day. I bet Matt saw The State, right? I knew it.
Wow. Jenny's getting
Yeah.
saucy.
No, I know I got ripped
I've-
off and didn't get to learn geography in school. I would have enjoyed that class.
Exactly.
Learned some. Well, depending on the school.
All right, I guess we gotta go. There's oh, here's a good one. What is this?
What?
Melissa P. Longo. This is from a website called facebook.com.
Hmm.
Here it is. Check this out.
I thought
It's a
this was pretty
fan-made
cool.
magazine. I really do miss
Yes.
physical Star Trek magazines.
Mm.
So for fun, I'm slowly creating a Strange New World Season 2 companion. I've extracted articles from online in a fun, creative layout for you to
Oh,
copy
fun.
and print if you like. Martin
It
Rev,
looks
that's very sweet.
fantastic.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It looks very professional. I was very impressed by this, and so I thought it should get a little share.
Love, yeah.
That's
This is
amazing.
great.
I think it's so cool when you get people who have those talents, and then you're just like, hey, let's.
Yeah, I would totally read this.
Mm-hmm. That's
Oh,
awesome.
it's like the old days of having Star Trek magazines.
I
I love
miss
it.
that.
was gonna say, I'm like, oh, I just got very nostalgic.
Ugh.
Yeah, me too.
That's
Pre-internet.
If this guy's going to
Right.
Vegas to the Vegas show, let's print it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
fun. Aw,
Keeping
man,
secrets.
that's so cool.
It can almost
Beautiful.
smell the pictures of
I
the
know,
pic-
yeah, yeah.
Right?
print.
Yes.
This is great.
Yeah. Ooh.
Well, and then
Ooh, good
stuff
color.
like this is what, the production companies and Paramount maybe should
This
look
is-
into doing a little bit
That's
more
what they're
of.
missing, that human
Right?
touch,
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Stuff like this is so fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're really trying to push the envelope forward rather than capitalizing on the nostalgia of the past.
Yep.
And it's okay to push forward for sure, you're Star Trek, but like the nostalgia of the past is pretty strong.
Yeah. Don't forget
yeah.
where you came from.
Yeah.
It provides the foundation for the future projects that
Exactly.
come down the pipeline. It
Yep.
retains the continuity of this franchise, of
Yeah.
this universe, of all of the characters who participated in this Star Trek story.
Yeah. And there's something about having something you can hold in your hands that connects you
Mhm.
more, like people, that's why we make fan art, and that's why we buy merch, and we want something that's a part of it that we can have,
Mhm.
Right. Something tangible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So looks like it's just about go time, everybody. So let's talk about the week ahead, shall we? Before we do that, of course, let's talk about the week ass behind. Like the day behind.
Somebody skipped leg day.
Yeah. Yesterday on the
That's
Seventh Rule
funny.
YouTube channel, we released our full review of, oh boy, Power Play.
Yes.
Power Play. That was a
Go
good
my
one. We
cock.
finally got to see
It
a little
was.
O'Brien doing
They're so
some stuff.
mean.
Yeah. So Colin was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sure was.
Meanie.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
Oh,
gotta spell
bloop,
it
bloop,
out.
bloop.
Anyway, so check that out. The full review of Power Play is out on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel right now. Then on Friday, come right back to this channel, the Virtual TrekCon channel, for Star Trek and Chill, where we talk about Star Trek and we chill. I think meteorologist Katie Nicolau is going to try something new. I don't remember what it
Oh.
is. Melissa, do you remember?
Not kumquats.
Guava.
Guava.
Guava, yeah.
Guava. Very nice. Okay,
Guava.
so she'll be trying some guava and we'll be chilling and talking about Star Trek and whatever else. Maybe
butts.
some wrestling. Oh man, all kinds of good stuff. Basketball, you're gonna love it. Dead
Mhm.
Purple 7's gonna show us her new shirt. That's gonna be a great time had by all. All right. And then on Sunday, this coming Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel, we have our first segment review of the Next Generation episode, The Cost of Living. The Cost of Living.
The higher, the fewer.
And mud
Ha!
baths.
Ha! Oh gosh. Now,
I
here's the
really
thing, you
love that
guys.
episode. It's really grown on me over the years.
Speaking of grown, would you believe we have, I used to call growing pains growing pains. I thought it
Nice.
was so funny. I was like, there's a TV show called Growing Pains, but I'm going to call it growing pains. Anyway, here's the point. The point is 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern Time on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel. We have a very special guest joining us. Somebody from, you're never going to guess. It is the one and only Christopher Halstead joining us.
I know that name.
Oh.
Hey!
Does he
He
still
eats
have
How
his
the
cup.
cool
outfit?
is that?
And then he lost his world.
Oh. He did eat his cup.
Or he ate his world. I can't remember.
He's
Oh,
also in the final episode of Deep Space Nine. It's a
Oh,
Jem
he
Hadar
did
first.
eat his
Oh, look at
world.
that.
Yeah. And he was sad.
Nice.
He was juggling the worlds and then he
Right.
got hungry.
And he swallowed one of
And-
them.
Yeah, and then he ate his last world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
So
was sad because he had no more worlds.
Hmm.
the point is, everybody, you are going to love this guy
That's
joining in
awesome.
because he gives us in-depth perspective about Majel Roddenberry just a few months after her husband died.
Mm.
How did they put this mud bath together? What were those scenes like?
Hmm.
And even more importantly, what does
Was
this
he
guy do for a
naked?
living now?
Oh.
He does something pretty crazy. Anyway,
Ooh.
it is a fascinating interview. You do not want to miss Christopher Halstead joining us on the Cost of Living review. Then on Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 12 or 9 p.m. Eastern Time on the Seventh Rule YouTube channel, we have our full review of which one is it? Oh, Ethics.
Oh.
Ethics full review. All right. Well, Jenny, can you tell everybody where they can find you online in the meantime?
Sure. Sure. You can find me at my website, Jenny R. Johnson. You can sign up for my newsletter there because June 1st, I'm dropping Wrath of Khan print and you're going to want it. So get on that newsletter. Also, you can find my shop through there and I sell prints. Yay. And I'm working on that painting and I'm finishing it this week if it kills me. So check out my social media. I'm Jenny R. Johnson Art. And there will be an update very, very, very soon.
Wow.
Yeah.
In a minute. What about you, Matt?
Well, I have actually started adding more videos to YouTube. I know I've talked about it a couple times, but I've actually done it. I added 2 more
Nice.
videos, and I'm so entertained because 2 people disliked one of my videos, and I'm like, what the heck?
What?
I know I'm like,
People are
it's like
people.
a short little video. I'm like, oh, okay. Made me laugh. And then, I'm starting to do a little bit more on
Weird.
the socials. Yeah, do a little bit more on the socials. And also, check out my art station if you want to take a look at some what I like to think is some cool Star Trek art.
It
That's
is.
awesome.
And yourself, Melissa Longo?
At walkingartmadebymelissa.com. May I have dubbed bracelet month.
Nice.
So I've been making bracelets. Oops. Whoops. This one is mid beading, but I ran out of
Ooh, I love
black,
that.
so I have to get a few more black. But yes, there's a few of these in the works. You should.
They're awesome.
And more will be added to my website, walkingartmadebymelissa.com. So sign up for my newsletter, and you will see bracelets there very soon.
Oh, I love that.
And along with other stuff. And then on social media, Melissa Longo. On YouTube, Three Fat Lobsters and Virtual TrekCon and The Seventh Rule. And off to you, Ryan.
Well, thanks very much. Everybody, you can find me online at RyanTGHusk. Once again, that's at RyanTGHusk, or just Virtual TrekCon, The Seventh Rule, or Falling Tower on your favorite social media, but especially right here on YouTube. Christopher Halstead, by the way, not the juggler. I had to check to make sure about that, but no, the juggler I think went in the mud pit with them later, the mud bath.
Yeah.
This was just a
And
guy that's just hanging out on the outside.
He wasn't. He was.
He wasn't the juggler.
That's what's so.
But he looks like him.
Yes,
He
that's
does
what's
look
so
like the juggler.
insidious about this guest is that he's just a guy that was there that has
Amazing.
crazy insights about the makeup that won an Emmy,
Yeah, right?
the costume department that won an Emmy,
hmm
the hours they spent in a mud bath, and what was going on, what crazy thing was going on in LA at that time that really messed up
Oh.
production. There's all
yeah.
kinds of stories. It's like some of the best perspective we've ever had.
Right.
Writers talk about writing, the actors talk about acting. These other peripheral type people, they give you insights and perspective, and it's a really fun one. It's really good stuff. That's it for us. So let's say thank you. Hey, Chris Garris, thank you very much. He said, here's a small
Wow.
gift to take Matt out for a root beer float. Happy
Oh,
birthday.
that's nice.
D Matt. Oh, that'd be fun. A root beer float,
That
D
would
Matt.
be
I
fun.
do love me some root beer floats.
Really? I haven't had one
Yes,
so
I
long.
do.
I feel like I should have one too. Let's do it. The four of
We
us.
should. Yes. Let's do it.
I
Next
like
week.
that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Chris Garris, for the super chat. All right. And thank you to Robert Kaiser, Arg Scott, Dave Gregory, Joshua Reeve, Linda Anderegg, and your sister. Happy birthday to her.
Yeah.
Bob D.
Yeah.
Did we already say Dave Gregory? We sure did. Jimmy Voltron, great name. Dead Purple 7. She says, I definitely need the bracelets.
Yeah.
Larry Smith. Herbert Turner. Wow, it's moving quickly. Moopsy. And everybody, we see all of you myth dustards. That's funny. Thanks all for hanging out with us. Boy, that is a quick moving live chat.
No kidding,
That's it for us. Is that it? Is that all we do?
Yes?
Is that all
Everybody,
we
please
Yeah.
make
I know,
sure
I
you
know. I
like-
was like, did we miss anything?
Please make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon for notifications. If you're listening in, give us a 5-star rating and a nice review. We'd really appreciate that. We will see you soon. Linda Anderegg, it was not an earthquake.
No.
But what was it? This is big time. We will see you next time. When you guys want to talk about wrestling, go to Peacock. When you want to talk about Star Trek, put it on the main viewer. Peacock is funny because they could have like a network called like Poo Butt next.
Hmm.
Peacock.
Peacock.